Okay, so something perhaps a little bit surprising for my regular viewers here today, because I've been doing, for the best part of a year now, I've been doing nothing but C2 content. I think for about the last 8 months. I just had a little look at my videos. I've basically concentrated almost exclusively on proficiency level stuff, but today I'm going to have a look at C1 Advanced. And I think this is going to be something I'm going to be doing more regularly, just to sort of change things up a bit. I'm going to be doing a few different levels, but hopefully that means I'm going to be able to get more content and, more importantly, a wider audience. Or maybe everyone will just stop watching because there's not enough of what they specifically want. We'll find out. So I think this is a pretty difficult task, and it's very similar structure, obviously. If you're used to seeing me do C2 level stuff, you'll know that part one of the listening exam at C2 level is very similar to what we're going to see today. We're going to do a listening with 3 extracts and 2 questions, 2 comprehension questions after each extract. And then I'm going to do a couple of grammar activities after that. So it's going to be a fairly complete lesson. You know, you've got a lot of different things that we're going to be trying out. And, well, it could be like a refresher course for those of you who think you're beyond this now, who think this is, who think you're too good for this. Well, we shall see. We shall see. Should we just get straight into it? I think that's what everyone wants. I've been talking too long and too enthusiastically for nearly 2 minutes now. Let's get into the listening then. So let's go with extract 1. This is taken from the
Listening Part 1, Worksheet 1. You will hear 3 different extracts. For questions 1 to 6, choose the answer A, B, or C, which fits best according to what you hear.
So I'm just going to say at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it through the first time, and then the second time I'm going to stop it at the parts that I think are important, right? Where I think I'm getting the correct answer. Okay, the information that I see is important. I think that's what I'm going to try and do. We'll see.
There are 2 questions for each extract. Extract 1. You hear 2 friends discussing the topic of reading books in printed or electronic form. Now look at questions 1 and 2.
What are you reading?
It's a novel. Quite gripping. Seeing me reading on my phone screen, you'd never know what it was, would you? Anyway, it's nothing too cultured. It being electronic is a plus if you don't want people to see easily what you're reading. I mean, if it isn't some great work of literature, but something a bit trashy.
E-books have cured my terrible habit. I tend to skip bits, especially if it's a thriller. I'll rush on maybe 20 pages from where I am in the plot, just to give myself an idea of the ending. It can really spoil it, though. But I haven't figured out how to do it on this electronic reader.
These electronic books sure beat carrying heavy books around. And if you decide you'd like a particular book, you can just get it immediately, as long as you have a Wi-Fi connection. Though there's something about turning the pages and having a book in my hand that feels right.
And if you love a book, it stays on your shelf like an old friend you can stop by and visit whenever you like.
Of course, e-books are always in your library too. They don't get battered like my most treasured paperbacks do.
Now listen again.
Okay.
What are you reading?
It's a novel. Quite gripping. Seeing me reading on my phone screen, you'd never know what it was, would you? Anyway, it's nothing too cultured. It being electronic is a plus if you don't want people to see easily what you're reading. I mean, if it isn't some great work of literature, but something a bit trashy.
E-books have cured my terrible habit. I tend to skip bits, especially if it's a thriller. I'll rush on maybe 20 pages from where I am in the plot, just to give myself an idea of the ending. It can really spoil it, though. But I haven't figured out how to do it on this electronic reader.
These electronic...
Right, so I think that's where we hear what the woman's admitting, a bad habit that she's got. She says, e-books have cured my bad habit, right? And she talks about how she tends to skip ahead, particularly if she's reading a thriller. She tries to skip ahead to the more exciting bits or something like that. So that's when she's reading a printed novel. So I think the answer in number 1 is that she looks ahead to see what will happen. Yeah? All right. Now, what do they agree about? Which aspect of their enjoyment of reading do the friends agree about? Okay. Okay. So does the man agree with that? I don't know.
Books sure beat carrying heavy books around. And if you decide you'd like a particular book, you can just get it immediately, as long as you have a Wi-Fi connection. Though there's something about turning the pages and having a book in my hand that feels right.
And if you love a book, it stays on your shelf like an old friend you can stop by and visit whenever you like.
Of course, e-books are always in your library too. They don't get battered like my most treasured paperbacks do.
Okay, so I thought that one was a little bit more complicated. How much it depends on the quality of writing. I didn't hear anything like that. How convenient electronic books are. Possibly. I didn't really hear them both saying that. I think they both said that they liked to own a copy. You know, there's something about it. I can't remember what it was exactly. I think it's C. Yeah, the man says... Yeah, that's right. The man says there is something about turning the pages and having a good book in my hand that feels right. It just feels right. No, it feels good. And the woman says, if you love a book, it stays on your shelf like an old friend. So, you know, there's something romantic about it. They both like it. It's pleasant to own a printed book. Yeah, it's definitely C. Had to read the script again, but yeah, it's C. Okay, right. Let's move on to extract 2, I think.
Extract 2. You hear a woman telling a friend about a book he gave her. Now look at questions 3 and 4.
So, what did you think of the book I gave you?
The Man in the Forest? It was certainly an emotion-packed tale. There wasn't much about the man in the first half. I thought it got more gripping once he came into it more. I really identified with the main female character, the woman called Lucy. I can see why you thought it'd be my sort of thing, the blend of crime, mystery, and social issues. It was quite disturbing in parts, as you suggested it would be. I did wonder why they chose that cover for the paperback edition, though.
What? The picture of the key? I thought it's made the book look quite intriguing.
It doesn't really evoke the essence of what it's all about, though. The book's chief strength is as a tightly plotted thriller that also draws attention to certain social injustices. I mean, the image on the front cover has the potential to summarize the content, or at least highlight the issues the book tackles, which it totally missed doing. If it had done, I'd have been more convinced it was going to be the kind of thing I'm typically drawn to. Still, it sold over 10 million copies, so what do I know?
Now listen again.
So, what did you think of the book I gave you?
The Man in the Forest? It was certainly an emotion-packed tale. There wasn't much about the man in the first half. I thought it got more gripping once he came into it more. I really identified with the main female character, the woman called Lucy. I can see why you thought it'd be my sort of thing, the blend of crime, mystery, and social issues. It was quite disturbing in parts, as you suggested it would be.
Yeah, it sounds like, to me, in 3, what is she doing in the conversation? She's giving her opinion about it, isn't she, really? I think she's describing her reaction to the book. Why does she mention the book's cover? That comes in the next part of the listening. So let's go on. Yeah, I'm pretty sure 3 is C. Let's have a look at 4.
I did wonder why they chose that cover for the paperback edition, though.
What? The picture of the key? I thought it's made the book look quite intriguing.
It doesn't really evoke the essence of what it's all about, though. The book's chief strength is as a tightly plotted thriller that also draws attention to certain social injustices. I mean, the image on the front cover has the potential to summarize the content, or at least highlight the issues the book tackles, which it totally missed doing. If it had done, I'd have been more convinced it was going to be the kind of thing I'm typically drawn to. Still, it's sold over 10 million copies, so what do I know?
So, I mean, in C it says to explain why the book has sold well. I think she's surprised that it hasn't been hindered by the cover. So she's definitely criticising something about the cover. I don't think it's B, though. I don't think she's criticising the book's plot. She quite likes the book's plot. I think she's saying, yeah, it doesn't really tell you when a front cover has the potential to kind of reveal a little bit about what the book is going to be about. This book kind of fails to do that. She's saying she's talking about the cover to suggest that it failed to reflect its contents. Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that one. Okay, let's move on to the final extract then. And same thing again. Let's go.
Extract 3. You hear 2 writers talking about their daily routine. Now look at questions 5 and 6.
My day starts with a look at the papers.
Oh, really? I deal with emails before anything else.
Emails used to be exciting. Now it's all just stuff to clear. I'm pretty disciplined about checking them, but I find it doesn't hurt to switch off the internet most of the time. Although I sometimes need to consult it for reference. No, I start with the news and concentrate on the human interest stories. I couldn't make up that kind of thing, so why bother when I can get a spark of inspiration so easily?
I've been meaning to tell you. I've started to write standing, with my keyboard and mouse at waist height. I reason that being on my feet for hours is a form of exercise. I think it wards off all those nasty things that start happening in the body when you're seated. Though I'm probably kidding myself.
Well, I force myself to take a long walk in the afternoon, but I wouldn't do it if I didn't have a voice in my head reminding me that it's also good for my brain. To be honest, I jump at the chance to opt out, say if it's raining. If that's the case, I'll sometimes do some sit-ups indoors, but with a feeling of resignation.
Now listen again.
My day starts with a look at the papers.
Oh, really? I deal with emails before anything else.
Emails used to be exciting. Now it's all just stuff to clear. I'm pretty disciplined about checking them, but I find it doesn't hurt to switch off the internet most of the time. Although I sometimes need to consult it for reference. No, I start with the news and concentrate on the human interest stories. I couldn't make up that kind of thing, so why bother when I can get a spark of inspiration so easily?
I've been...
Right, so when he's finding ideas for reading, the woman talks about emails. He says he tries to concentrate on the news. He used to find emails exciting, but now he finds it even helps just to not look at the internet much. Not that I don't think that's to say, though, that he avoids depending on the internet for storylines. He's just saying that he tries to focus on the news, and it's the personal history sections. He said you can't make that stuff up, so it's very original. You get some pretty good original ideas. I can't make stuff like that up, so why bother? That's where he gets his inspiration from. I think it's B, yeah, in number 5. Of course, let me know in the comments if you disagree with anything, but I think so far so good. Anyway, 6. They both think that taking exercise was what? What do they think? Okay, let's find out.
To tell you, I've started to write standing, with my keyboard and mouse at waist height. I reason that being on my feet for hours is a form of exercise. I think it wards off all those nasty things that start happening in the body when you're seated. Though I'm probably kidding myself.
Well, I force myself to take a long walk in the afternoon, but I wouldn't do it if I didn't have a voice in my head reminding me that it's also good for my brain. To be honest, I jump at the chance to opt out, say if it's raining. If that's the case, I'll sometimes do some sit-ups indoors, but with a feeling of resignation.
Okay, so is a pleasant way of taking a break from writing? Well, the man certainly doesn't say that. He certainly doesn't say that. He doesn't enjoy it at all. He jumps at the chance of avoiding his long walk in the afternoons if it's raining or something like that, you know. So any excuse and he'll just not do the exercise. And if he doesn't go on a long walk, he'll do some sit-ups, but reluctantly. So we know that he definitely doesn't like doing exercise. He forces himself to do it. So they can't both think that. I don't think either of them say A. Is effective for thinking clearly. You know, I think the woman suggests that it could be. Possibly, but no. I'm looking at the script. I can't really see any evidence of that at all. I think they both say it's necessary but unappealing. The man says that he needs to do it. The woman says that she needs to do it. She says that I reason that by being on my feet for hours, it's a form of exercise. No, it wards off all of those nasty things that start happening in the body when you're seated. So, yeah, she thinks it's necessary. She thinks it's good for her health. No, but yeah, she doesn't really seem to like it. And the man says that, you know, I wouldn't do it if I didn't have a voice in my head reminding me that it's also good for my brain, right? So he realizes it's necessary, it's good for his brain, but it's not something that's very appealing. I think it's C. That one was pretty difficult, I have to say. Okay, let's move on. We're going to have a look at a couple of grammar exercises, as I said at the beginning. Well, first of all, a vocabulary exercise, I think, and then a grammar exercise. So these are kind of frequently confused words, I guess, and this can be really hard at C1 level, you know, choosing the correct word. And it's more to do with collocations, idioms, that kind of thing at this level, whereas C2 is more precise, more academic, I suppose. Let's have a look at number 2, exercise number 2 here. See if I can fit this in properly. And it says, choose the correct verb in each sentence. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to have a look at these 8 sentences, and we're just going to see which one sounds more correct in each case. So it says, number 1, Greg Parsons' book Charity at Home was declared or designated winner of the National Literature Prize. Well, I suppose a prize can be designated to someone, maybe, but it was declared winner, right? Somebody declared that his book was the winner, right? So I think the correct option here would be his book was declared winner, right? That sounds best, I think. All right, let's have a look at number 2. I really do indicate or urge you to read War and Peace. It's one of the greatest novels ever written. Yeah, so I think it's definitely urge you. No, I think you should have it. I would suggest that you run to read this book. No, you need a sense. There's a sense of urgency I really want you to read it. Indicate. I'm not sure how you could fit that into that sentence. Maybe if you suggest something subtly, I indicated that he should read that book. But no, it's got to be urge. Okay, number 3. Julie reassured or confided in me that she was that she was thinking of giving up her creative writing course. So I think, again, the collocation here, you could say Julie reassured me that I don't know why I would need reassuring about the fact that she is going to give something up unless I was specifically wanting her to give something up, like I've been nagging her for a long time to give up smoking, and she reassured me that she would give up smoking. But anyway, it's clear just purely from the collocation, it has to be confided in me, right? She told me something a bit secretive. Maybe she didn't want her parents to know or her friends to know or whatever. She confided in me. No, she admitted to me that she was thinking of giving up the course. Okay, number 4. I hate having to write so many essays, grumbled or presumed Freddie. Well, presume is when you logically conclude that something is going to happen, no? No, grumbled is when you sort of complain about something. Oh, God, I hate having to write so many essays. It's kind of the tone of voice, isn't it? A grumble. Number 5. Journalist Pete Withers is refusing to dispute or to disclose his sources to the police. Well, you certainly can dispute something. Dispute his sources with the police, maybe. Even so, it wouldn't really make much sense. The collocation's wrong. The meaning is wrong. It's going to be disclosed. Disclose is reveal. No, so he's not going to say where he got his information from. Obviously, I don't know if obviously not in every country, but I've wondered about this a lot of time. Journalists interview criminals and things like that, and they hide their face and disguise their voice and things like that. And I've always thought, well, everyone knows who the interviewer is. Surely the police want to know who that person was that they were interviewing. But maybe they have some kind of journalistic right, if they're a licensed journalist, where they don't have to disclose all the information that that's in their hands. Okay. 6. Helen reasoned or vowed that the murder in the whodunit could be the cook, as he had couldn't be the cook because he had no real motive. If you vow to do something, right? It's like you promise it. We talk about our wedding vows. When you get married, you promise to stay with someone in sickness and in health. And vowed, no. It's like when you commit yourself to something. No, Helen reasoned, that logically it couldn't be the cook. And a whodunit is a crime novel, no? When we don't know who did it, and whodunit is like a colloquial way of saying, who did it, no? Anyway, number 7. The newspapers are mentioning or speculating that the book prize will be won by a relative newcomer. We don't know who's going to win a prize until it's revealed, so I assume they're speculating. No, they're speculating that it will be won by a relative newcomer. Okay, number 8. The law stipulates or notifies that a journal cannot publish false information about a living person. Depends what country you're in. In some places, the onus is on you to disprove it, I think. I always forget which way round it is, in America or in England, where they have freer press in that sense. But the law stipulates, definitely, the law stipulates, right? Absolutely. Okay, we've got some sentence transformations here, a little bit similar to part 4 activity, but we're not given a word here. We're just going to try and say these sentences in a different way to fill in the gaps here. So let's see how I can fit this in, more or less. So we'll have a look at the first 5 and then the next 5, like that. Okay, so it says in number 1, I'll send you a copy of my poem to read, Noah said to D. Noah promised a copy of the poem he'd written. I think Noah promised to send D a copy, or promised that he would send. Yeah, or just promised to send. I think both would be acceptable, no? Yeah, I think both would be acceptable there. Noah promised to send, or promised that he would send D a copy of the poem he'd written. Yeah, absolutely. 2 possible options there. Okay, number 2. I don't think Archer's latest thriller will sell as well as his last one, said Sophie. Sophie predicted that Archer's latest thriller, as well as his previous one, I guess, wouldn't sell. No, wouldn't sell as well as his previous one. Yeah, I don't think it will sell. She predicted that it wouldn't sell as well. Yeah, wouldn't sell. Okay, number 3. According to this article, they're making the book Destination X into a film. This article says that the book Destination X passive is being made into a film, I think. No? It would have to be. Is being made into a film. Yeah. Yeah. I'm finding writing my new novel rather boring, said Sam. Sam complained that he was finding writing his new novel rather boring, I think. Sam complained that he was finding writing his new novel rather boring. The act of writing his new novel was what he was finding boring. So a little bit of a mouthful there. Was finding writing boring. But yeah, that's how it would be. Okay, number 5. Why don't you join our reading group? Maria said to Anna. Maria suggested to should join the reading group. I think Maria suggested to Anna that she should join the reading group. I guess that isn't necessary because she is the subject of the clause, right? Yeah, Maria suggested to Anna she should, or that she should, join the reading group. Yeah. Okay, and we're going to have a look at the final 5 sentences here, from 6 to 10. It says, my daughter has had a novel published, said Mrs. May. Mrs. May boasted, right? So she said it in a very boastful way, no? Showing off, she was showing off. She was being ostentatious. Mrs. Day boasted that her daughter had had a novel published, I think, no? That her daughter had had a novel published. I don't think there are any other options. Obviously, leave comments under the video if you think there is anything I've missed out here, but I'm trying to think of all the possibilities. I don't think there's any other possibility there. Mrs. Day boasted that her daughter had had a novel published. Don't forget to take that book back to the library, Harry said to Ben. Harry said to Ben. Harry the book back to the library. Harry reminded Ben to take the book back to the library. I think that's the simplest option. I don't know if you can think of anything else. I think there are probably more options there. But yeah, reminded Harry to take the book back to the library. Or reminded Harry not to forget to take the book back to the library. But yeah, whatever. Everybody thought the book was far better than the film. The book was said, so we've got a reporting verb here. Far better than the film. The book was said to be far better than the film. I don't think we need to put anything else in there. Was said to be far better than the film. I honestly didn't touch the painting, Martha said. Martha completely, touching the painting. I think she completely denied touching or having touched the painting. I think both of those would be correct. She denied touching or denied having touched the painting. Yeah, they would both be correct. I have the same opinion as you about Hamlet, Ruth. It's Shakespeare's greatest play, said Matt. I think we could just say Matt agreed with Ruth that Hamlet was Shakespeare's greatest play, I think. Matt agreed with Ruth. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's any other options there. Anyway, I think we've just about finished for today. I enjoyed that. I like these books as well. This is Exam Booster by Cambridge University Press. And they're pretty good books. And pretty complete class. We did a bit of everything there. A bit of vocabulary, a bit of grammar, a bit of listening. So it was pretty good. And as I say, I think I'm going to be having a look at a few different levels. If you want more personalised content from this channel, I've mentioned this before, press the blue button under every one of my videos. You can see the membership options there and you can get more exclusive content on the channel. Anyway, I think we finished. I think we finally finished. Goodbye.